On today's Apple Daily, boy do we have a lot to talk about. Let's get into it. Face ID with Apple Watch ID. Big Sur 11.2 goes live. iCaveAnswers. iPhone 13 following iPad Pro design. iCave merch. Apple Silicon software support. AirTag data use. Mac MagSafe connections. Non-M1X iMacs. M1 external SSD heating. Higher Spec Mac minis. And into Notification Squad.
For the latest Apple news, rumors, and leaks, every weekday at 12 UTC, join us in the iCave.
I'm iCaveDave and I simplify Apple so that everything just works for you. And if you want to keep up to date with everything, make sure you smash the subscription button and ring the bell so that you don't miss a thing, and join our notification squad by posting up hashtag notification squad down in the comments. Then you'll get a shout out at the end of the next video. And if you got that I simplify Apple so everything just works for you reference, you are an OG gangster from the old days of living on iPad. Let me know if you did. So let's get straight into the news. Face ID with Watch ID. Apple has released iOS 14.5 beta as expected. I know someone asked last week and I said early this week, so I'll call Monday a win. It includes app tracking transparency feature as previously discussed, but far more interesting is that Apple has added a new beta feature that will allow you to unlock your iPhone with Face ID even if you're wearing a mask, as long as you have your Apple Watch on, paired to your phone with passcode and wrist detection switched on. Now, it's not clear if Face ID still uses some of the face biometrics or if it's just checking that your attention is on the phone and you're looking at it, but you won't be able to use Apple Pay on the iPhone with this feature or authorise purchases from the App Store, but if you're wearing an Apple Watch and you need to pay with the Apple Watch. I didn't actually set up Apple Pay on my iPhone for about a month after getting it, as I was always just paying with the watch while I'm out and about anyway. This also adds more credence in my mind to the idea that iOS 14.5 would actually be launched at a March event. That's a really nice feature to be launching with alongside privacy features. I don't think anyone expected for the masks to be as prevalent still, so it's really handy that Apple is bringing this before we're getting potentially that under display Touch ID sensor in the next iPhone 2. The beta also included AirPlay 2 support for Apple Fitness Plus on big screens that aren't Apple TVs, joint Apple Card support so you can share an account with a partner, support for PS5 DualSense and Xbox Series X controllers, 5G mode for dual SIM iPhone 12s, and probably more stuff that people will find out over the coming days. Big Sur 11.2 goes live. For Mac users, Big Sur has also had a big update with better Bluetooth reliability, which I am super hoping for, although actually the issues seem to have reduced a lot recently. A fix for external displays using HDMI to DVI converters that occasionally showed a blank screen, more reliable saving of Pro-RAW changes in photos, iCloud issues, system preferences not always unlocking properly, and what we've all been crying out for, a fix for that emoji key. Thank Jupiter. I'll be installing this in a day or so after establishing that it doesn't cause the apocalypse, because there's always a chance that within a day or so the update completely gets pulled because it causes some kind of horrific other issue. But I'd really like to be able to still keep making videos, so I'll keep you updated. Now we're going to get into iCaveAnswers. We have got a lot today, so we are going to smash through these. They are going to be quite quick answers, but if there's anything you want to know more about in detail, please go ahead and ask follow-up questions in the comments. So the first one comes from Ben Demir. iCaveAnswers. Some rumours say that iPhone 13 can be like iPad Pro design, like no-notch full screen with the sensors at the top of the screen. Can it really be an iPad Pro screen design? Now, we were chatting in the comments about this. I don't think they can fit all of the sensors that they would need to into the bezels on the iPhone, because the iPhone bezel is much thinner than it is on the iPad Pros. The best I think we can hope for is the reduced size of the notch, but honestly, the notch really doesn't bother me. I'm not sure who it does bother. Would you upgrade your phone just because that notch is a little bit smaller? I personally wouldn't. I've seen the companies that have started putting cameras under the display, and they look horrendous. The pictures look terrible, so Apple's probably not going to go down that line. So I think we are going to be stuck with having a notch of some sort for the foreseeable future, at least, if we want to keep Face ID. Yes, they could put the speakers and stuff into the top edge of the iPhone itself, into the metal band, but I don't think it's going to be as good of an experience. What I think is more likely is that the speaker will end up actually using the display as the speaker cone, so the display itself will vibrate. That's a potential, but we've still got cameras to put in there. Next up, mine says, iCaveAnswers, are you going to release any merch? And actually yesterday, you might have noticed, I was actually wearing my Makes All the Sense in the World t-shirt, which is the first one that I kind of put up. If you want to pick up one of those, and I don't know why you would, it is iCaveDave.com/merch. Yeah, we'll make some more stuff in future, but I think maybe we should, make sure people actually want it first. If you want some merch, let me know in the comments. Vinay Spider asks, how many years will Apple Silicon MacBooks get software updates? So I think this is an interesting one because, yes, the first generation of Apple Silicon Macs are here, obviously with the M1 chips. I think they will get at least 5 years, probably 7 years. That's based on how long the Intel Macs in general have got. 7 to 8 years is pretty typical. I do think, though, that the Intel Macs that have just come out will probably get maybe 3 years. I wouldn't expect 5 on those. But for the Apple Silicon stuff that's come out, I think 5 at least, probably 7. But it also depends on how quickly Apple Silicon gets even faster. And more than having support for the operating systems will be being able to support all of the stuff that the operating systems bring. So if Apple decides to add a different component to the M series processors that does something magical, like for example, my 2013 iMac wasn't able to use certain stuff because it didn't have a T2 chip, it didn't have that kind of stuff, so it couldn't do everything exactly the same as the latest ones, which is understandable. The improvements over time are not just with speed, but I think 5 to 7 years is probably pretty reasonable. Dennis W asks, the problem I have with this AirTag rumour is, are they using my data to ping off my phone for their location? I have a real issue if they're using my data to ping someone else's AirTag. Now, this is an interesting point because right now they're already doing this. So the Find My network, if you've got that switched on your iPhone, yes, they're using a tiny amount of your data to locate other stuff. I believe it's only really used once they're in lost mode. The idea is basically the whole of the Find My network, basically any Apple device, will allow a little bit of data to be passed through it in order to locate these devices. And the thing is, it's a benefit for everyone, so it's there to make sure that when you lose your iPhone, it will be able to be located by other people's iPhones. And this also reduces theft, it reduces all sorts of stuff. iPhones, when they put in the ID locking, the activation locks, theft of Apple devices just dropped through the floor. And basically the idea is that AirTags will kind of bring that to other devices. Stuff that's not Apple, stuff that's a bike maybe, being able to find all of that stuff because you've got an AirTag on it, I think is a really good benefit, and it will not use an amount of data that you would even notice. So I think it's probably not something you need to worry about, but if you're really worried, I think you can turn off the Find My network, but then good luck when you lose your phone. William Philippe says, great content, iCaveDave. Do you believe that the coming MagSafe charging for Mac will return to a proprietary format as opposed to the universal USB-C connector? Yep, it's going back to proprietary. It's not going to be using USB-C because USB-C is a thing that you plug in. MagSafe is a thing that you stick on the side. So it will be separate. I think they will still keep the option to charge through USB-C, but MagSafe will be the dedicated port for charging, and it will be Apple's proprietary one. It will probably look a bit more like the smart connectors that are on the iPads. I think that's probably the format that they might go to, is looking a lot like the iPad's smart connector, so it's completely flush, as opposed to the one that pops in at the moment. And I also think that might be what they put onto the iPhones when they go portless, as well as an option, as well as the MagSafe that we have on iPhones right now, because then it can be used for data as well if needs be. Next up, Sol Quint. Do you think they'll release an M1 non-X iMac for a low-cost model? Edit. Second question, do you think that we'll see M1X MacBook Pros as a stopgap measure until the chassis redesign or not? So on the first question, M1 in an iMac could well happen actually. That could well be, I think I mentioned yesterday, or on a previous show at least, that Apple does a lot of stuff with the education market with iMacs, so they could well put an M1 into an iMac to make a lower cost version that may be exclusive to the education market, but I don't think they would do just a straight M1 iMac for the masses. Could be wrong, they could put that in the lower cost version. Very good point, and certainly in the smaller one. To the M1X as a stopgap for the redesign, no, I think the redesign is very much on the cards in the very near future, so I don't think you need to worry about that. I think M1X will come in the redesign, so we'll get the 14-inch and 16-inch models with the new style of design, and that will have the M1X in it. And if you want an M1 MacBook Pro, you'll still be able to get the 13-inch for a little while. Hopefully that answers the question. Official Team B. I have a Crucial X8 external SSD for my Mac, but it is heating up a lot in a relatively short time. I've watched reviews on YouTube and none of the reviews talk about the heating issues, and I checked with the reviews on Amazon and many people were also complaining about the heating issue. Does this happen with all portable external SSDs, or is it this particular SSD? Now, this is one that I'm opening up to the community because I don't have this SSD. I do have portable SSDs, they don't get particularly hot, so that's not an issue that I've found, but let me know down in the comments, guys. I believe there has been some talk of heating of SSDs with M1 Macs in particular as well, so I don't know if there's a power issue that may be being fixed with the new Big Sur update, but who knows. If you are seeing any of this at home, or if this has been an issue for you, please let us know down in the comments, and let's just kind of crowdsource the answer for this one. Doug Willis asks, there have been virtually no discussion on whether we will see a Space Gray Mac Mini with higher spec M1X chip and more ports in 2021. I have a 2019 Mac Mini with an i7 chip, 16GB of RAM and a 1TB hard drive. To upgrade to an M1 Mac Mini at this point is not enough of a performance boost at this point for the money I would need to pay. However, an M1X with more ports, better graphic would probably tempt me. Look forward to your take on this. So yeah, there's definitely been discussion of a higher spec Mac Mini coming out. I would guess the Mac Mini will basically sit as a headless iMac of sorts. So whatever they bring out an iMac with, they will probably bring an M1X version of that Mac Mini as well. That would make a lot of sense to me. I can't see them not doing it because a lot of pros do like to use the Mac Mini format to use whatever displays they want, all that sort of thing. So it definitely sounds plausible to me. Whether they'll stick with just the Space Gray for the premium and silver for the regular, I don't know, but that would also make sense, so I don't see why they wouldn't. And into Notification Squad, we have 2 new members, and they have the longest names in the world, so I'm going to put them up on the screen today. Jeffrey Quentin K. Quizzy, Maria Sangel Avi Quick, and Quentin Antin Jacquinan Siquizzi. I don't know if I'm just being trolled here, and people have just created accounts with unpronounceable names, or if this is actually new people. But if it's actually new people, thank you so much and welcome, and let me know how horrendously I said your names. So that's it for today's show, guys. If you want to ask a question like everyone did today, which was really cool, I like doing these Q&A things, let me know down in the comments. Use hashtag iCaveAnswers. If you want to join the Notification Squad for me to butcher your name, use hashtag Notification Squad, and make sure that you've subscribed to the channel and rung the bell. Hit like on this video because I'm sad when people don't. Thanks so much. See you in the next one.